Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Tesla Time News.
Episode 209
on Now You Know.
We're brought to you, as always, by our amazing Patreon patrons.
Do you want to join our community of amazing patrons? Then head over to patreon.com/nowyouknow and be a part of creating independent news every week. We've done this for 4 years, every week, but we need your support if we're going to continue.
And a free way to help out the show is by using the Amazon link down in the show notes below.
Yeah, by clicking on that link the next time you're going shopping on Amazon anyway, about 4 or 5% of your purchases will go to help support our show, and it won't cost you anything.
As Amazon associates, we earn from qualifying purchases.
And head on over to ecoware.us, where you're going to find new designs uploaded every week, like the one you're wearing.
Yeah.
I like that one.
It always seems impossible until it's done.
And we carbon offset the manufacturer, shipping, and life cycle of your purchase, and we plant a tree for every order.
So it's carbon negative.
All right, so remember last week the big talk was of silicon nanowire anodes.
Right. The picture on the back of the invite to Battery Day got more attention than pretty much anything else last week. And everyone was conjecturing that it was going to be silicon nanowire anode.
Well, Elon kind of put the kibosh on that. He tweeted, "We were too obtuse for our own good, although I think it works aesthetically. These are folded over current collectors at the top bottom of the cell, which are important, but I don't want to jump the gun on September 22nd.
So, could it be that Elon is just lying and covering up what could be on Battery Day on September 22nd? Or could it be that it's something else? Maybe it's lasers. Maybe it's nano sharks that generate electricity by swimming through the magnetic fields of the batteries.
That sounds plausible.
It could be anything. We don't know. Or Elon could be telling the truth, as he often does. Or there's a big, tank full of sharks, and then they shrink them down, turn them into electric sharks to produce energy.
Is it Shark Week? Why are you so hung up on sharks?
I'm just.
That would be cool.
The energy that people go into this being like, no, it's definitely this, and that means that, and that means this, and therefore, yeah.
We'll find out soon enough.
That's for sure.
Now, you remember that Tesla raised $2 billion back in February with the stock raise. Well, on September 1st, Tesla announced an equity distribution agreement to sell $5 billion worth of stock through an ATM offering program.
Cool. So I can go to an ATM and just receive Tesla stock. I put in cash and I get the stock out?
That would be cool, but that's not what I meant. I'm sorry. I meant at the market program. So
ATM stands for at the market?
Yes.
What is that? What?
So this allows Tesla to sell stock at market prices when they want. So they don't have to issue any shares if they don't want to, but if they want to, they can wait till the stock price is high and issue as many or as few shares as they want to.
And we could be seeing up to $5 billion in capital raise, essentially.
Exactly.
So how is this different than a usual stock offering?
So because they don't have to issue all the stock at once, this won't really shock the system.
Okay. And so where are all of these shares coming from?
Well, kind of Tesla's making them out of thin air.
They can do that?
Yeah. I mean, they're just making new shares. This is how the stock market works.
Well,
you issue new shares when you want to raise more capital.
Doesn't that have some effect on my shares?
It does. It makes your shares worth about 1% less. They've diluted it about 1%. But because they're getting all that cash, they're able to do stuff with that cash, build factories and so forth, and hopefully shareholders will feel like that is a worthwhile use of the money.
So the company might become worth more because they were able to do stuff with the cash that came in. So why do this? I mean, they have plenty of cash, it seems.
Well, I mean, the traditional answer would be they want to make a stronger balance sheet. They want to be able to use this to pay down existing debt or to buy companies or to build factories. I think that this actually probably has something to do with the S&P 500. And that segues quite nicely into this next story, which is that the S&P Index Committee this week didn't comment on why Tesla was not accepted to the S&P 500.
I'm sorry. You said that they Tesla. I'm sorry. They weren't accepted into the S&P 500.
Yes, they weren't accepted.
Wait. Why? Why did they say? What did they say? Why?
They did not comment. I just said they didn't comment on why they weren't accepted. They accepted Etsy. Teradyne, and Catalent.
So then why didn't they accept Tesla?
Let's try and parse this out.
Okay.
So those three companies have a combined stock value of about $40 billion. And I get what you're saying. Tesla has over $400 billion of market cap. And I mean, Tesla remains more valuable than 95% of the S&P 500's existing components, including Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble. In fact, Tesla is now worth more than Toyota, Disney, or Coca-Cola. And Tesla is up 475% this year.
So, and they're profitable for the last 4 quarters. So why isn't Tesla accepted into the S&P 500?
All right. So going back to our last story, I bet that S&P reached out to Tesla and said, look, our fund managers just can't get enough of your shares without driving the share prices up astronomically. Will you produce some more shares? And I'll bet this was Tesla's answer to that, which was, okay, we'll help you out. We'll be able to issue up to $5 billion worth of more shares. But you got to imagine, if you're a fund manager, it takes time to gobble up enough shares that you need to put into your fund. And so my guess, I am betting here, this is a conjecture alert. I am betting that the S&P 500 fund managers needed more time to gather shares, and that it's probably going to be another month or so before Tesla is led on to the S&P 500. Now, keep in mind, for instance, let's go back to 2013 when Facebook was admitted to the S&P 500. It took over a month for them to be admitted, probably for similar reasons, which was a lot of fund managers hadn't even heard of this company, right? It was a startup, and they hadn't put their shares in yet. So it takes time to gather these shares. That's my conjecture. My other thought here is that it can't be too much longer because these fund managers who have already started to gather Tesla shares in anticipation, if you're an S&P fund manager, you can't be holding on to shares that you shouldn't have.
Okay, so we have to kind of talk about float shares for a minute. A lot of Tesla is owned and held by people who have not been selling for quite a while. Right. These can be institutional investors. These can be Elon Musk himself. He owns quite a large share of Tesla.
Right.
And that also includes his friends. That also includes Tesla long shareholders who don't sell their shares much. And so the float shares of a company are how many shares are kind of in circulation.
Right.
The S&P 500 has to buy a crap ton of shares,
right?
Because that is what the S&P 500 is. It's an index. We've talked about this before on previous shows.
Right.
And so what you're conjecturing is that the S&P 500 would like to have Tesla a part of their index. The problem is, in order to do that, you have to have enough shares in the index and all the indexes that index off of that index.
Correct.
And that creates a problem because it would create a ridiculous amount of demand for a very small number of shares, which would lead to a unwarranted share spike.
Yeah, this latest spike we saw about a week ago could have been just that. It could have been fund managers gobbling up shares and then calling up the folks at S&P and being like, dude, I'm trying to get shares, but they're like so expensive. Like, what are we going to do?
I don't know, dude. I guess we're going to have to, like, tell the S&P to delay it so we can buy these at, like, normal, not crazy prices.
We need more time, man.
Absolutely.
This is, like, a total bummer. Yeah, so to all of you folks out there like, oh my God, they're never going to be part of the S&P 500. I kind of doubt that. I think that they are really going to have to be admitted. I think they just need more time. And if you think this is a topic you'd like to share with your friends, then head over to the Now You Know Clips channel where we cut up these news stories into bite-sized clips that are much more shareable instead of sharing the whole 1-hour news program. You can share these clips with friends. All right, so Elon was in Germany this past week, and he was quite busy. The first thing he did was he talked about the Giga Berlin paint shop.
He said Giga Berlin Paint Factory will be the most advanced paint factory of any car factory in the world. This is going to be really cool. To be totally frank, it's going to be better than the one in the US. We'll upgrade the one in the US later. It's a really cool multi-layer paint system, and we're going to have a color lab here.
All right, so my question is, why is he telling everyone this?
I think, the German factory isn't up and running yet, and there's still plenty of political ways that you could, shut down the factory. I think that by saying, oh, we're going to have good stuff here, that's going to kind of create goodwill for Germans, and they're going to say, oh, we're going to get a color factory. I mean, you remember when we talked about Porsche, they had like 14 different kinds of colors for the Taycan. So maybe they're going to have 14 different kinds of colors for the Tesla.
I just think it's funny because most CEOs would never talk about one part of the world getting a better factory than another part of the world. Because now the US and China are like, well, we don't get good paint.
Right. I mean, I think that
Elon doesn't think like a normal CEO. He's not thinking about like,
Well, how is everyone going to be thinking about this? And what should I do to make everyone happy?
He's just thinking about, here are the steps that we need to do. Here is the order that we will execute them in. So it's going to be like, we need a new paint shop. Oh, it's going to be easiest to build it in Germany because we could build the building slightly bigger if we needed to add on a separate section. And then we'll do some other stuff. And then we'll probably upgrade the one in the US with the learnings that we had from the German one. So, we shouldn't have gotten the color mixer 85000. We should have gotten the color mixer 638B extra bututilator. That kind of thing. It's just how he thinks. He isn't the kind of person who's like, we're working on this. He has a list and he's working his way through it. And then he talked about the Model Y redesign. What? Yeah, he said there's a bunch of innovative stuff that we'll be doing here at Giga Berlin. We'll tell you about it in the future. It's not just a copy of the Model Y. It's actually a radical redesign of the core technology of building a car. It will be the first time that there will be a transformation in the core structural design of the vehicle. It's quite a big thing. Okay, so wait a minute. Clarify what he's talking about here. Is this going to be a new design of the Model Y? I think that the shape and size and look of the Model Y is going to all remain the same. But what I think that he's talking about there in that quote is that I think that the whole structure of the vehicle is going to be cast. So die cast. Oh, right. So what we've seen over at the Fremont factory with a big die cast machine. So instead of putting together and welding together all these individual parts, you just into a big mold, and then boom, you have your Model Y body. Right. And basically, he talked about that this will be revealed at Battery Day. So we have to remember that Battery Day is not just Battery Day. We've just been kind of calling it that. It's Battery and Drivetrain Day. And this kind of fits in with that, although it doesn't. So I'm not sure why he would be talking about it then. Yeah, but I think that things are constantly happening at Tesla, and to have to organize specific days for specific things probably doesn't make much sense. Yeah, keep in mind, this day was supposed to happen months ago, so they probably would have had another day by now. Right. I mean, it was supposed to happen back in, March? Yeah. It's been almost 6 months. Right. So I think that, he probably wanted to have another one in September where he's like, diecast day. Right. Although he probably wouldn't have said that. He would have said like Model Y Day again or something. It could be really huge if he pulls this off. I mean, when we talked to Sandy Munro about what he could accomplish, Sandy Munro is basically just like, it's game over if they can do this. No other car company has ever tried anything like this. Yeah. And Sandy is impressed just with the rear section of the Model Y that they're already putting into place right now. Yeah, reducing 70 parts down to 1 or 2. Right. Imagine reducing a couple hundred more down into one piece. Yeah. It could drastically reduce the price of the Model Y. And since we're talking about Giga Berlin, I think we need an update on what's going on there. So let's head on over to Wolfpack Berlin YouTube channel. Robert and Andreas have an update for us.
Hello guys, here we are again with an update from Giga Berlin. Have fun! Here you can see an overview from the south side. The works on body in white make great progress. The drive unit factory gets its roof. The facade is also almost finished. The paint job is getting bigger every week, and right next to it the piles for the stamping have been rammed into the ground. The foundation work for the casting is in full swing. Later aluminum castings will be produced here. Cool foundation for that switchyard, isn't it? There has been a lot of speculations about what the Tesla tent is for. Unfortunately, there is no opening ceremony here. It will only be used as a canteen.
Until next time. And now, back to Zach and Jesse. Bye.
And I'm sorry, everyone, this is probably a few days out of date. That's our fault, timing issues between them and us. But you can see that it's amazing the progress they're making just in the past couple weeks. Yeah. So while Elon was in Germany, he met with Peter Altmaier, who's the German Federal Minister for Economic Affairs and Energy, who told Musk that we are very proud of your car plant in Brandenburg, and we wish you good luck with that. You'll have every assistance you need. I like hearing that.
Yeah, that is the kind of thing you want to hear.
And Elon said, great trip to Germany. Support from government and people is super appreciated. Elon goes to Shanghai or he goes to Germany and he gets the support of the people. And one of the ways he gets the support, he does a Richtfest.
I'm sorry, a what?
A Richtfest.
A Richtfest?
Yeah, a Richtfest is a traditional thanks to the builders. So basically he went and he dressed up in traditional German Richtfest garb and he thanked the builders who were building the factory.
Can't wait to, start making cars and having that great opening party. It'll be good. We throw good parties. All right, thanks you. Well done.
So, I haven't paid too much attention to just about every building project that's ever happened in Germany. I'm sorry, Germans, I'm just not up on that kind of thing. So I don't know if this is like a common thing that CEOs do.
I don't know.
But I think that it probably plays well to the German media and German people to see that he's kind of showing a bit of humility and not just being like, of course, we will have the most advanced technological plant in the world. He's actually like, hey, I'm going to wear a silly hat and I'm going to wear this vest and I'm going to hold a traditional German thing. That's, I think that this is one of Elon's strengths.
And while he was there, he also visited CureVac and he explained how the CureVac machine stirs particles magnetically.
So wait, what is CureVac?
So CureVac is a medical device company that's working with Tesla, and Tesla has patented some things with CureVac, basically how to make, it's an RNA micro factory. And so the key thing to keep in mind here, as Pranay points out, is this has got a great potential. Almost all diseases that have genetic components driving them can be cured, which does include most cancer types. And Elon said, exactly, this is not fully appreciated.
So this would cure coronavirus?
Good.
In theory?
Yeah.
Okay. And it sounds like also many types of cancers. And
what's cool is it's not that expensive a machine. So instead of making the vaccine in one location, having to send it out around the world, you could just send these machines out to different places and make the vaccine right there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. It's weird to go from cars to saving the world from the current pandemic.
Innovation.
Yeah.
Takes many forms. And so then last Wednesday, while Elon was in Germany checking on the Giga Berlin and CureVac, he landed his private jet at the Braunschweig airport to visit VW's chief, Herbert Diess.
Now, Elon reportedly checked out the ID3 and ID4 while at the airport, but what was the meeting really about?
Yeah, talk has been swirling about some kind of partnership between VW and Tesla. But the question is, what would VW want out of this partnership and what would Tesla want out of it? So let's just walk down it for a second. Like design. I feel like both companies have really strong designs and they really wouldn't need each other for that. Mm-hmm. Batteries. Both companies have partnerships with battery companies. I don't think they really need each other for that.
I think that Volkswagen would want Tesla for that.
Maybe, but I don't know if Tesla would want to give up. It needs every battery it can make.
That's true.
Powertrain. I mean, VW has the MEB platform. I just don't think they would want a new platform. I can't figure that out. So like, what is it that they want from each other?
I think maybe that they might just be, buds.
Oh, you think this is just like,
they're like, oh,
it's been a while since I've seen you, man. Really good to see you.
Yeah, it's really nice to see you too.
Hey, did you happen to bring Parcheesi on the plane with you?
Oh, I did. Yeah, let's, where can we play it?
Oh, I've got room over here. We got a great game room over at VW.
Oh, great, man. Playing Parcheesi. It's such a good time with you, Herbert.
It is really good, Elon. We don't see enough of each other. But tonight we should have a rave, man. I could be the DJ. You could be the light guy.
Well, I also would like to be the DJ. I mean,
you're always the DJ.
Well, that's because I've actually written some songs, Herbert.
All right, I'll do the lights.
Herbert, I'm feeling pretty hungry.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking?
Cook off?
Cook off, dude.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I've been working on my dicing skills.
Oh, you're so funny, Elon. But you know what I really think they were meeting about?
Wait, you didn't think it was any of those things?
Those are probably great. Those are probably the buddy things they do. But okay. I think this was a meeting about the one thing that a partnership would make sense on.
Headlights?
Supercharger network. So hear me out here. Elon has a great supercharger network throughout Europe. The VW ID3 is coming out, and they are going to need a place to charge more than just the Ionities that are currently there. So VW needs more chargers. If they were to partner with Tesla, they would get more chargers. Tesla would get VW investing in more charging infrastructure in Europe. It's a win-win for both companies. But I think they needed a personal head-to-head on this to make sure that they were both seeing eye to eye.
And so what they could do would be to have, because I mean, currently you pull up to any supercharger in the world and you just plug in your car, as long as it's a Tesla, and then it just works, right? The car says, "Hi, I'm Frank's car," and the supercharger says, "Hello, I'm a supercharger," and they do a digital handshake.
They do,
and then the charging begins, and then Frank's credit card gets charged for the amount of electricity that he uses. But if you plug in any other car, the car doesn't make that handshake because it doesn't say the right things.
Right.
So yeah, all Volkswagen has to do is install whatever software, hardware that they need into the charging infrastructure of their vehicles.
And then the handshake can take place.
And then that would take place, and that would mean that they would have access to the Tesla supercharger network, which used to not be able to accommodate any other vehicles other than Teslas. But Tesla was sort of forced to roll out the CCS standard to all of its superchargers, which they have slowly been updating over time.
Actually, fastly.
Yeah, very well, yes, fastly. And also all the new superchargers that they're putting on have both plugs, which means that pretty much any car could fit the plug into their plug, and as long as they had the handshake, it would work.
Yeah. And I think this would explain why they probably didn't want any press around. They probably wanted to work out a few last-minute details before they, agreed to anything. All right, so Jesse and I visited the Westport, Connecticut Police Department last week, and we spoke with Police Chief Koskinas and Officer Sampson about their new Model 3 police car.
And when we came home, one of the things that we realized was that we didn't ask people to share this with their police chiefs, with their police friends, with their friends from other towns who could then go and share this with their police chiefs. We think that this needs to get a lot more attention from the police community, because this is a very important innovation that is going to need to be happening. And the faster we can get all of these police departments up to speed, the better the world is going to be.
This is a great conversation starter, because a lot of times if you're thinking of approaching a police chief in your town, you might be like, I don't know if I have all the answers to all the questions. This has all those answers.
Yes.
And what's great here is that a lot of police departments nowadays have social media. They've got a Facebook page, they've got Twitter. So you can just post a link to this video on there, and they're going to start to see it and share it.
And did you know that the Westport Police Department project that even though it is a bit more expensive than a Ford Explorer, they will be in the green next year because of the cheaper fuel and maintenance costs for the Tesla Model 3.
The great thing is that the data shows that you're actually going to be saving money very quickly after you purchase a Tesla Model 3. It's not going to take years and years and years. Basically, after year one, you start to accumulate the savings.
And that's ignoring the fact that you have a much more capable police car.
And a green police car.
So SpaceX just completed their second test hop of the Starship.
I'm sorry. I think we already reported on this a few weeks ago.
Right. This is the second time we get to see this because it's the second test hop that they've done.
Oh, I see. But why? I mean, what's the big deal about a second test?
So this was actually a different rocket than the first test. The first test was done with SN5, serial number 5, Starship. This one was done with serial number 6. So they built a whole new rocket since we saw the last test. These are both prototypes of the Starship. They only have one Raptor engine on the bottom. It's a gimbaling engine, which allows them to kind of take off and land somewhere else. And Elon said that this test flew similar to the first test hop, but was much smoother and faster operation.
Oh, so there's been improvement there.
A lot of really fun stuff about this. He says, turns out you can make anything fly.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a grain silo.
Right. Pranay said, seeing this 150-meter hop, a certain quote from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy comes to mind. The ships hung in the sky in much the same way that bricks don't. I love that quote from Douglas Adams. Such a great book. So very soon we should be seeing serial number 8 rocket fly. This one will have a nose cone and body flaps.
What happened to serial number 7?
They blew that one up. Intentionally, that was a pressure test vessel.
Oh, gotcha. All right, so Tesla Model 3 owner Edward said, Tesla Autopilot saved my butt today.
How did it do that?
Check this out. Check out this footage here. He says, I don't know if I would have swerved left as quickly as the autopilot did without needing to check there first for traffic. It all happened pretty quickly, but I'm reasonably sure that there was an initial hard jerk controlled by the car, and I turned the wheel more, thinking the autopilot was messed up, which kicked it off. So yeah, he's driving down the road. This has all happened to all of us. Someone changes lanes without looking, and you have to quickly get out of their way.
Now, we have seen lots and lots and lots and lots of videos that look very similar to this. It's usually, oncoming car, it's a truck, it's whatever. In this case, it was a very scary truck with a trailer. They all look very similar in the way that they swerve, and we haven't been reporting on them because there's just no way to know that the autopilot was engaged.
Right.
In this case, to me, the speed at which that trailer just kind of comes in to slam into the car, and the speed at which it's avoided doesn't seem very human controlled to me.
No.
And it's so similar to so many other cases that we've seen that I really think that autopilot is the one that is doing this.
Yeah, and you can imagine that a truck with a trailer, if that had been an accident, can you imagine the tangled mess there would have been on the highway?
It's not going to just be a bump. It's going to be a bump. And then you're dead.
Yeah. Tesla Time News is sponsored by Cybertruck Owners Club. There you'll find a crowdsourced reservation tracker that you can update and find your place in line. Check out their website for Cybertruck news, discussions, and community for Cybertruck enthusiasts and future owners. And their 3D configurator allowing you to visualize the Cybertruck in any color, wrap, and logo, both on screen and in augmented reality. All right, so I thought it was a good time to check back in with one of our favorite CEOs, Mark Frohnmeyer from Arcimoto. Hey, Mark, what have you and your team been up to at Arcimoto the past few months?
Hey, guys, great to see you again. We have had a very busy summer. We got some of our very first Deliverator pilots on the road. We have right-sized the balance sheet of the company, and we struck a collaboration with Sandy Munro and his team to plan out the mass production phase of Arcimoto's growth. We have now resumed production that we had paused in March because of the pandemic, and just as of a couple days ago, restarted delivering FUVs to some of our early customers. We actually did 3 capital raises in pretty rapid succession. And with that, we were able to retire all of our debt. So all of our senior secured and convertible notes are gone. And something that's is actually really cool for me is we have had a going concern warning in our filings ever since we went public. And we have now been able to remove that going concern warning from our filings for the very first time. So it's, we've got feeling like we got a real head of steam as we go into this next major phase of the company.
Wow. I mean, that is really good news. Completely out of debt for a startup. And as we've reported before, you've been working with Sandy Munro. How is that partnership going?
We've actually, with the Munro team, we've actually workshopped every single part, every fastener, every subsystem of the vehicle. We're leveraging their deep expertise in mass production of vehicles to say what parts can we simplify, what are the right materials and methods as we go to mass production, what should we be looking for from our suppliers in terms of different cost steps along the way for the various parts that we're using. So this has been over the span of really the first 10 weeks of our collaboration. We went through, workshopped every single piece, and with them we've identified something like 600 different potential avenues of cost reduction that go from the near term things we want to do in the next 6 months, 12 months, to things that will really fold in when we step up production up to our target over the next 24 months is where we're targeting. Their whole team is so awesome to work with. Like they have this just kind of egoless approach of doing things. They also have this real mentality of, we don't want to just do your work for you. We want to train your team to, it's really this knowledge transfer and philosophy transfer approach. And I've just, Sandy kicked the whole thing off with this Sandy Munro's Hearts and Minds presentation. And I think that thing should be a masterclass that is like required for every engineer on the planet as part of every collegiate curriculum. It's just it was gold, and I just said, look, I want every Arcimoto engineer to watch this video. It's such a good way of approaching design and engineering, and I think it's working with them is going to make our team better. I mean, we've got a bunch of brilliant folks on board. But we're learning a lot as we're going as well, which is super cool.
That's awesome. Great to hear that it's going so well. And I heard that in addition to the FUV, the Deliverator, and the Rapid Responder, that you now have a 4th model?
And it actually made a cameo appearance in our summer update video for about a second. We had a bunch of people chiming in and saying, what is that thing? And we actually call it the Cameo. It's our camera vehicle. So we built it because we need it for the video work that we do on the road. But you can think of it as an Arcimoto-sized camera rig. The market for this will be YouTubers. It will be people who are doing sporting events like cycling and running, as well as just the traditional Hollywood market for camera vehicles on the road. And it's a niche, very, very niche product. But we think that is going to have sort of an outsized potential influence, because influencers we think are going to be one of our principal markets for it. But also, this is the product that will pave the way for the fifth platform product, which is going to be more of just a flatbed general utility vehicle on the platform. But the reality is that they're all reliant on the very same platform, 95% of the same parts. They'll be all built on the same production line. So it's just, I think, one more example of the flexibility of the Arcimoto platform and the ability to go after really nice specific niches in the overall vehicle landscape.
Oh, well, we definitely can't wait to get our hands on that thing.
Oh, man.
That's awesome. And I mean, I hope you haven't been too busy over the past few months. I know it's been pretty stressful.
And one of the things we actually did was we took the Arcimotos camping this summer. So I've always wanted to get them out on dirt roads and see how they do sort of off the paved path. And we actually had a ton of fun driving up in Northern California near Utica Reservoir, and we just ripping down dirt gravel roads in the Arcimotos. And one of the really cool things about the platform is it's dual motor front wheel drive. So you get a lot of traction, and I think that's one of the things that really separates us from the traditional approach to most reverse trikes, which is to put the drive in the rear. Having dual motor front wheel drive really makes it a very practical platform, not just for paved city streets, but also for slightly more rugged terrain. I wouldn't go climbing rocks with it, but for getting down the dirt road, it's no problem at all.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. It's been so nice talking to you today.
Right on, guys. Hey, really appreciate the time.
I don't want to admit this, but I didn't know that they had a dual motor front wheel drive.
Yeah.
With dual motor in the front, that means that if one motor is going to spin, you can still direct torque to the other one because you don't have this differential, which is pretty stupid when it all comes down to it.
Yeah, I mean, so on a three-wheeled vehicle, having two wheels with power is pretty much all you need. Not only that Cameo looks like it would be a perfect fit for our channel.
Right. Well, and the other thing, too, is when we're showing all this B-roll of driving through the woods, you don't get to experience how nice it is to be in the woods with a quiet vehicle.
Yeah. So the UK motoring publication What Car just published their most recent reliability survey, in which they asked 13,000 car owners about the dependability of their vehicles over the past 12 months, including how much they had to pay to get their car's problems fixed. They said in most cases, these two factors are more important than what actually went wrong with the car, because they determine how long you could be without your car and how much of a dent a fault could put in your wallet. So we used a combination of the answers to these questions to create a unique reliability rating expressed as a percentage for each model.
Okay, so what did they find?
Well, they found that the Tesla Model 3 was the most reliable executive car.
What's an executive car?
Right, it's time to play What's an Executive Car?
Not this again.
All right, so an executive car is a British term for a large car which is equivalent to the European E segment and American full-size classifications.
Okay.
Executive cars are larger than compact executive cars and the non-luxury equivalent mid-size cars, and smaller than luxury saloons, full-size luxury sedans. All right, we've got 10 seconds on the clock. Show me the first picture. All right, Jesse, is this an executive car?
No.
That's correct. Very good. You've got one down, two more to go. If you get just one more right, you're going to win. So don't worry about it, lad. Here we go. Is this an executive car?
No.
Oh, I'm so sorry. All right, you got one right, one wrong. We've got one left. If you get this right, you're going to win.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
no
yeah,
pressure.
yes, okay.
No pressure.
Okay.
All
what
right,
is it?
here
What
we
is
go. Show them the next picture. Is this an executive car?
Okay, it has to be bigger than a...
3 seconds left.
Smaller than a big...
Time's up. What's your answer?
No.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Jesse. That is an executive car. Well, thanks for playing What's an Executive Car? Your consolation prize is a year's worth of crisps. So thanks for playing, Jesse. What's an executive car? Yeah, so the Tesla Model 3 came in with a score of 99.4% reliability rating, meaning that it is the most reliable executive car.
Cool. So who came in last?
The Mercedes-Benz C-Class. Over a third of the respondents had problems like electronics, exhaust, fuel systems, battery, bodywork, infotainment, brakes, steering, and they weren't cheap to fix, giving it a reliability rating of 87.3%.
So Lucid Motors has published a video showing the dual-motor, all-wheel drive Lucid Air Dream Edition, besting the Tesla Model S in a quarter-mile drag race, hitting a time of 9.9 seconds for the quarter mile.
Lucid claims this is the only electric sedan to have accomplished that time. So remember, they're also claiming an EPA-rated range of 517 miles on their battery.
And they also have the Wonderbox 19-kilowatt bi-directional charger.
Yeah, this is pretty cool stuff. I mean, the full reveal is coming on September 9th, but if it turns out that they can deliver this car at a decent price, there's a lot of cool features.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see a company that is in any way kind of competing with Tesla's top-of-the-line electric specs. Obviously, we've seen the Taycan, but we obviously know what the price of that car is. To have a startup car company be able to compete with Tesla, that's just great.
Yeah. And speaking of startups, the Swedish startup Volta Trucks launched their Volta Zero last week. This is a 16-ton fully electric commercial vehicle for inner-city deliveries. It will start European trials in the first half of 2021, and then production starts in 2022, when it expects to sell 500 the first year, rising to 5,000 in 2025. This has a 160 to 200 kilowatt-hour lithium iron phosphate battery, depending on the model you get. It has a range of 95 to 125 miles, or 150 to 200 kilometers, and a payload of 8,600 kilograms.
So this isn't like a long haul truck. This isn't even really a medium haul truck. This is only for cities.
Right.
Cities is one of the places where you need electric trucks the most, because this is where, we stop caring so much about CO2 emissions and we care a lot more about pollution, because in cities, obviously, there's a lot of pollution coming from all of the cars and trucks on the road. Trucks especially, huge polluters, and it matters most, of course, in cities because that's where more of the people are and more of the trucks. It's a bad combination.
Well, and I would even argue the CO2 emissions, because, just stop for a second if you're in a city, look out the window, and just, for 1 minute, count the number of trucks you see. It's probably a lot.
Are you ready to rumble? The Ford Mustang Cobra Jet 1400's popping a wheelie and runs the quarter mile in 8.2 seconds.
Why are you using that voice?
1,400 horsepower, 1,100 foot-pounds of torque, and it hits speeds of 168 miles an hour.
So, that kind of blows the Lucid Air out of the water.
I don't know.
What?
This is a purpose-built prototype. Like, this is a one-off. And I don't get why all these companies get so much hype out of their one-offs. Yeah, like Ford builds this, Mustang Cobra Jet, and, they get so much press and so much coverage. And it's like, yeah, they spent $1 bazillion to build one of them.
Well, yeah, but I think that there is a bit more of a positive thing in here. First of all, it shows the power of electric to people who only care about the best and the tippity top of the best performance. But it also means that someone at Ford had to know enough about electric cars to put together the Ford Mustang Cobra Jet 1400.
I don't know if they know how to make an electric car, but I picture it goes something like this. Well, let's see here in my Rolodex. Oh,
Rolodex?
Yes. Someone here can make an EV. What do I got here? Okay, there. Hello, operator? Yes, I'd like to speak with an electric car company. Yes. Oh, that'll do. Hello, Dan.
Operators?
Hello, Dan. How you doing there? We don't know how to make an electric car thingy here, but I know you do something about that. So can you make us an electric, whatchamacallit thingy, goes real fast and all that? Yeah, that would be great. All right. Thanks so much, Dan. Yeah, I think you're giving them a little too much credit. I think that these are built by a third party, and then they slapped their name. Yeah,
sure. But it means that someone saw an electric car.
Sure.
And they at least their marketing department had to go film this and show it to the rest of the team, and they had to see that. Some people are going to be excited. Some people might be, lining up to go work on this car, stuff like that.
This is walking that fine line that we talked about in the Osborne effect in depth. If you haven't heard about it, go check it out. Basically, they have to show you how awesome electric cars are, but not give you something you can buy. So it's like, oh, that's awesome. Can I buy one? No.
Like, no, this is only for the coolest and best. You don't get that. But maybe when they figure out how to make some of this stuff cheaper, you could buy something maybe half as good as the Cobra jet.
Right. And speaking of Ford, some Ford dealer training materials have leaked showing how they're preparing to compare the Mach-E to the Model Y, because those will be the two SUV electrics in this market. So we see here on this one sheet, what about Tesla, right? Because that question is going to come up. Someone's going to come into the dealership and go, oh, nice car, but what about Tesla?
Right. And so then that's where they go, oh, crap. And they go run to their desk and they start opening drawers and they're like, where's that one sheet? Okay, good. Oh, thank goodness. And then they pull this up and they go, well, did you know that this is a confusing sheet. The Mach-E Select 36,395. Model 3 $37,990.
Yeah, so I thought we'd help you guys out so you don't have to go down to a dealership. We're looking at this chart here from Electrek where they compare the Ford Mustang Mach-E to the Tesla Model Y, which would be the comparable car. And as you can see, in pretty much every category, the Model Y beats the Mach-E. So in price, range, 0 to 60, and cargo space. And keep in mind that price-wise, we're showing you the Ford Mach-E with the tax credit because you would be able to get a $7,500 tax credit in the United States, whereas we're showing you the Model Y without the tax credit because you can't get that anymore.
Now, there should be other base models of the Mach-E coming out that should be cheaper, that should come in at $37,000 whatever dollars.
But the range will go down to 230 miles.
Right. And again, keep in mind that's after the tax credit and stuff like that.
Speaking of the Model Y, though, in the past, when Tesla has entered a new market, it has shipped new cars from its Fremont factory.
Because that used to be the only car factory Tesla had.
But Giga Shanghai changed that. Now Tesla will build cars in the region that they're delivered to.
That's what makes these next photos so interesting. These are photos from Yancheng of a Model Y on a flatbed in China. Deliveries aren't expected until 2021, so it could be a prototype that was made in China. It could be a car that was shipped to China. Maybe Tesla shipped it to China. Maybe someone is importing it. A private individual is importing a Model Y to China.
Why would you put camo on it if you're importing it? What if it's that Tesla shipped a Model Y to China to be able to, bring it into the factory and compare it to what's, they're producing, or put it on the machine that brings it through, or like something like that?
All of this could totally make sense. It could be a rival Chinese car company that wants to tear it apart.
But I mean, what if it's a prototype that came out of the factory already and they're sending it off for testing or something?
Right. We just don't know.
I mean, that would be cool, because if that's true, that could mean that we're going to see Model Y produced there faster than expected.
Yeah.
So Derek, a Tesla owner in Langley, British Columbia, had brought his 29-foot RV home from storage and parked it in front of his house. And the next morning, it was gone.
He said it was like waking up out of a dream. I wasn't sure at first. I kind of saw nothing and couldn't remember. Did I actually bring it home? Am I waking up here? And 10 seconds later, it hit me that it was actually gone.
Yeah, after checking his Tesla Sentry footage, he realized he had caught the theft on video. 2 people had come that night with a pickup truck and stolen the RV.
Derek shared the Sentry Cam footage on social media and with the police, and luckily, the police were able to retrieve the RV by the end of the day.
Yeah, Derek said an officer recognized the truck and RV thanks to the video captured by the Tesla.
They even found other stolen RVs at the location from tips they got from the Sentry Cam footage. Detective Tesla strikes again. He can be anywhere, at any time. Detective Tesla catches the culprits in the act, red-handed.
He went from an American detective to a British detective.
He's all
of them, right? All right, it's time for our Going Green segment, where we're going to be talking about a study that shows that Model 3s emit 65% less CO2 than Mercedes C-Class.
So usually the Going Green segment is about a new company installing, solar chargers or getting EVs. why does this study belong in this section?
Well, you know why it's in here? Because for companies to switch to EVs, they have to understand how beneficial EVs are for the environment. And there have been a lot of misleading and downright wrong reports about EVs. Well, now we have a well-researched scientific study that shows where those previous studies were wrong. And it turns out EVs are better for the environment than ICE cars, like we've been saying all along. So this new study from Eindhoven University of Technology compares the lifelong greenhouse gas emissions of electric cars with the emissions of cars using gasoline or diesel, and they found that many earlier studies were severely flawed in their assumptions. For instance, they exaggerate greenhouse gas emissions of battery production. That's a big one. They underestimate battery lifetime. A lot of those old studies assume electricity will not get cleaner over the lifetime of a car, even though it will. Or they'll use laboratory tests that are paid for by manufacturers themselves, which you can't really trust. Also, they exclude or downplay fuel production emissions. So when you're making gasoline, you put a lot of energy into making that gasoline and a lot of greenhouse gas emissions into transporting it and refining it. And lastly, they ignore the larger system.
And so all of these factors combined, where you can just kind of fudge the numbers a little bit if you're trying to make EVs out to be the bad guy, can make EVs look horribly worse for the environment than buying a really not very efficient gas car. And that can completely change people's minds because they go, oh, look at this data that shows, I guess electric cars are terrible for the environment. I mean, it's tricked engineering explained. It's tricked Atom ruins everything. It's because they fudge all of these different segments, and that basically leads people down the wrong road into being like, oh, I guess EVs suck.
So let's compare here on this chart a Model 3 to a Mercedes C220D. And as you can see, instead of taking years for a Model 3 to pay off for itself in terms of CO2 emissions, it only takes 30,000 kilometers.
Right. And this is assuming that you're plugging into a regular old grid.
Right.
If you have solar panels on your roof and that's how you're charging your car, or if you pay for solar or wind energy, or if you, like, for instance, live in Montreal and you have pretty much 100% hydropower, that's all renewable energy that you're using to power your car, which means that you don't even have to be driving it for that long for it to immediately be carbon neutral.
And what's really important here is that a lot of other, like you mentioned, YouTubers, but also reporters will find some research online and then they'll base their whole findings off that research. And so if they say, well, EVs aren't that great, here's the research I found, then that's what they're stuck putting in their story. So it's important that we share these kinds of reports that have more updated, accurate research. So we've put this on our Now You Know Clips channel where you can share just this story with your friends and family and get the word out. All right, it's time for
Into the Future!
So on Thursday, the 10-year-old San Jose, California battery startup QuantumScape announced it would do what all the cool kids like Nikola and Fisker and Canoe seem to be doing these days, some SPAC.
Ooh, is that like a drug?
No, that is a reverse acquisition.
Is that some kind of drug?
No, that's basically, they're doing a reverse acquisition to go public with Kensington Capital Acquisition Corporation.
So can we just call it what it is already then?
Yeah, I mean, this is effectively an IPO, right? Basically, all these companies lately have been doing these reverse acquisitions, but it's just a way for them to get onto the public market. So QuantumScape would be doing the SPAC. So they would be under the ticker symbol KCAC. And then in about the fourth quarter, when the acquisition finally goes through, they'd be on the New York Stock Exchange under the QS ticker symbol. So what's happening here is that they're raising $700 million in cash, and then their enterprise value of the company would be about $3.3 billion.
So what makes this company interesting is the chemistry of their batteries.
Yeah, QuantumScape is using solid-state battery technology because the cells use a solid ceramic electrolyte rather than a liquid electrolyte, which is used in the current lithium-ion battery chemistry.
This lithium metal battery is non-flammable, making it safer than a conventional liquid electrolyte, and they claim it will allow for an 80% charge in less than 15 minutes by eliminating a lithium diffusion bottleneck that occurs in conventional anodes, as well as increasing energy density compared to lithium-ion batteries.
So Bill Gates and VW are early investors in QuantumScape, with VW investing an additional $200 million in June.
There are reports that Volkswagen might be incorporating QuantumScape's solid-state batteries into their cars in limited production as early as 2024 or 2025.
Yeah, so this is pretty interesting here. They've got about 200 employees right now, and the deal should close in Q4. They claim that if this battery can work, that it'll have a 50 to 100% greater range with the same weight battery, the same density battery.
So this is where it sounds great. All of this stuff that they're saying sounds great, but the weird part is the 2024 and 2025. I mean, we're talking 4 to 5 years from now.
Yeah, and this tweet by Sam Corris from ARK Invest, he said, it's good to have so many people working on different approaches to improve cells. And then he cites QuantumScape's investor presentation. And Elon stated, chart underestimates lithium-ion potential by roughly a third. So as you can see here, QuantumScape is probably overinflating what they can deliver, and Elon's pointing out that they're underreporting what lithium-ion can deliver.
Which kind of points me into the direction of Battery Day. That kind of makes me feel like Tesla might come out with the battery that could compete with this solid-state battery without it being a solid-state battery.
And I want to point out that one thing they kind of don't want to talk about much here with QuantumScape is the cycle life. They've never once said, like, we can do 20,000 cycles or some number. They don't really tell you what that is, which leads me to believe that, yes, they're able to deliver on some of these factors for the battery, but not the cycle life. And if you can't deliver on cycle life, that's not going to work.
Well, right. And like every other new battery technology that is, breaking onto the market now, production. That is going to be the kicker, the killer.
And cost, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, production and cost kind of go hand in hand. How easily can they be produced and at what cost? Because, I mean, you can have the best batteries in the world, but if they cost too much, you can't put them in cars for people to buy.
All right, it's time for Solar News Update. Now, I don't know how I feel about this one. This is Sistine Solar's solar skin overlay that can brand a solar system like this right here, the 56 kilowatt system they installed for the Waterbury, Vermont-based whiskey distillery, Whistle Pig.
Wow, that's really cool. So that instead of having these, some people would say ugly solar panels sitting on top of your roof, you can actually turn it into like a sign. And then people will know, oh, this is this place if I happen to be flying above it.
Here's the thing, though. You got to take an energy efficiency hit. So this is less efficient by about 15%, and it costs more. So this system here for Whistle Pig costs about $20,000 more. So every day the sun is shining, you're getting 15% less energy, and you had to spend so much up front. So I know it'll be popular with, companies like you're seeing here, Facebook and stuff like that would probably love to, put their ads on a parking lot and on, billboard type solar. So that's great. But yeah, it's the efficiency hit. That's why I'm kind of on the fence. And if you'd like to put solar in your house, but you've got lots of questions about it, call up the folks at Energy Pal. Our viewers have worked with them a lot to answer all your questions about solar. So if you're sitting there right now going like, I don't know, there's so many questions. Right. I'm kind of overwhelmed. Give them a call, talk to them. They will not pressure you. They will just help you find the right system for you. And what's really cool is on their website, they have the largest repository of solar panel data on the internet. So if you're one of those solar geeks who's like, I want to find out what's the best panel for me, you can go check out their database. Link is down below in the show notes, and tell them that Zach and Jesse sent you.
All right, it's time now for our video contributor story.
Yeah, we got a story here from Daniel about the pop-up Tesla store in Warsaw, Poland.
Hello, my name is Daniel, and we are here in Europe, in Poland, exactly in Warsaw, in capital city of Poland. And today I would like to show you a new pop-up store from Tesla. And it's quite funny because it's a trailer. It's not a normal building. And I talked with person who work here, and they told me that in 2 or 3 months they will move to a new building, but now you can see how it looks. It's already closed. We had to wait because they cannot be on the movie, but come on, I will show you. Here we have Tesla Model 3 and there is Tesla Model X, and also they have in the garage Tesla Model S. There is our Tesla also white, so we have all of them here. And here you have wall connector from Tesla, and here you have Powerwall, which is not in sale now in Poland, but it will. And inside you can choose all of components in your Tesla. You can see that it's closed, but I will show you like this. Like normal shop, you have design studio, and that's all. In Poland there is a lot of people who want to buy Tesla, but until now they couldn't buy Tesla official. There was only private companies, and now they can do it officially with this pop-up store. But for me and for a lot of Polish people, it's quite funny because it's a trailer. It's not normal building. But it's good that Tesla officially came into Poland, because Tesla in Poland, in this part of Europe, is more and more popular. That's good. And that's all from me. Thank you for watching, and best regards from me, from Daniel, and from Polish Chamber of Electromobility Association.
How great that we get these videos from all over the world showing, I mean, that's a cool trailer.
Yeah.
It's got the battery, it's got the charger, the cars, all of that. That's, I mean, really smart.
Well, we're about to head on over to our Patreon bonus stories. One of the stories we're going to cover this week, Jesse, is that Consumer Reports video that you and I were getting so upset about. There's so many things they got wrong in that video. And, you know, there's a lot of car experts out there that claim that they know about Tesla's autopilot, and they almost always get it wrong. Remember that video from John McElroy earlier this year?
Right.
Well, now Consumer Reports has a new 8-minute video where they discuss autopilot, and they get so many things wrong that we don't have time to show you them here, but we'll cover it in our Patreon bonus story. So head on over there. For as little as $1 a month, you can check out all our Patreon bonus stories and help support the show. All right, we're back from the Patreon bonus stories. That again got a little weird at the end, but they often do. All right, it's time for our Patreon shoutouts. Who do we got?
We have Lars Drakblad,
Martin Kvolbeck,
Tommy M,
Jofo,
Greg,
Mike S,
Alexandra M,
Dave,
Patricia Cartwright,
Slava Sabirov,
Amorpax Incorporated,
Gareth Desborough,
Kim Ajay Johansson,
and Paul Scotty.
Thank you so much for supporting us. We can't do this show without you.
All right, it's time for Elon's Tweets of the Week. Get your popcorn. Here we go.
Here we go.
Tasmanian printed an article saying Neuralink job listing suggests the neurotech company may expand to Texas, and Elon said,
yes. So
awesome. If you're looking to join a company and you live in Texas, don't have to go far.
Wow. Lucky Texas.
Rory Sillin-Jones said, before everyone gets too excited about Elon Musk's Neuralink demo, here's what Professor Andrew Jackson, professor of neural interfaces, Newcastle University, says. This is solid engineering, but mediocre neuroscience.
And Elon said, it's unfortunately common for many in academia to overweight the value of ideas and underweight bringing them to fruition. For example, the idea of going to the moon is trivial, but going to the moon is hard.
Then Elon said, just learned that my physics professor from Penn is head of Fermilab and still has some of my old homework. And then Viv says, what was your favorite class that you took outside your major? And Elon said, Alexander and the Rise of Hellenism and Film Studies. Also, critical thinking. So then he showed us some of his homework here, and it looks like he did pretty well, 5 out of 5.
Yeah. And I think one of the most important things to realize about Elon is that he is a generalist. He's not a PhD in one particular thing. Now, usually when you say generalist, it means that you're mediocre at everything. That isn't always what it means. In Elon's case specifically, he is very talented on many different subjects, and that is what allows him to excel at Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, OpenAI, PayPal, all of these different things. It's because he has a strong background in engineering, in programming, in people, film studies, and Alexander the Great. All of these different things are not one specific, he didn't take a PhD in it. I think that's interesting and something to note.
And then Everyday Astronaut said, what film has always stuck with you as moving or groundbreaking from that class? And Elon said,
Videodrome.
I remember that. It was James Woods and Blondie's Deborah Harry.
I'll have to.
I might want to go back and rewatch that.
I guess we'll have to rewatch that.
And then Sam said, Elon, with Neuralink, are you focused on vertical integration, i.e. finding the best people to develop the tech in-house, or would you bring other companies on board who can complement the process with components that could be integrated into the device?
If some company has solved a useful thing that we can buy, that would be great. It's just so much work to create our own tech. We develop new tech because we have to, not because we want to.
And Elon tweeted, physics is the law, everything else is a recommendation.
And
that should be a t-shirt.
That should be a t-shirt, yep.
And Elon also said, an AI with strawberry picking as its goal will result in strawberry fields forever.
Which is actually, you might think that that's really nice because you heard the Beatles song. It's actually a horrifying thought. If you told an AI, hey, make me strawberries, and you didn't give it any other instructions, and it was smart enough to do what you wanted, you'd annihilate the population of the human planet.
Wow. And then Stefan said, just butt purchased, like butt dialed, a $2,000 upgrade to my Tesla Model 3. Blows my mind that they don't require a password to confirm that purchase. Already filed for a refund, but we'll see if they allow it. Elon, how is this possible?
Elon said, trust your butt, haha. But yeah, it is weird that you can kind of just open up your app, which you have to have logged in to at some point.
But just be careful giving that app to your kids.
Yeah.
Here, Johnny, play with the Tesla app.
Okay, let's make the car. It's true of most apps. Any apps, really. You're at the App Store.
Yeah. All right, time for community mail time.
Community mail time. So we have Kevin showing us a Vasi?
Hey, Jack and Jesse, it's Kevin reporting from Gwinnett County Airport in Georgia. We're currently repaving our runway at the moment. That's why we have cars and trucks on the runway at the moment. But I thought it would be cool to show you guys something called a Vasi light and how it's operated by a solar panel. So a Vasi light is a visual approach slope indicator that tells an aircraft if it's too high, too low, or on the glide slope. So basically, it's operated by a solar panel, and I thought it would be cool to show everyone how it works. And now you know.
Yeah, that was a visual approach slope indicator.
I remember using those in Flight Simulator.
And then Philip's got an idea for the Model C.
Or the Tesla Coupe.
Yeah, it looks like the passengers would have amazing views.
Definitely. And our buddy Pete said, you guys are my favorite YouTubers by far, and I love all your content. Thanks for paying off my mortgage.
I didn't.
Bought Tesla shares as a result of your Where Will Elon Be in 5 Years video last year. So I'm a fan for life.
Oh.
So
well, you're welcome.
If you bought last year and, so you paid off your, thanks. Well,
wow.
Congratulations, Pete. And let's congratulate Pete down in the comments. He paid off his mortgage.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Wow. That normally would take you your whole life.
Yep. That's how mortgages are typically structured.
It's a death note. And then we got Gulamon in Vatican City.
Hey, this is Guilleman reporting for Now You Know. I'm on holiday. This time it's Rome, Vatican City, and look what I see is electric police car in the middle of St. Peter's Square. Just loving it. Bye. Now you know.
Now, I think, Gulamon, if I need a double in a movie for myself, you're the guy I'm going to call.
And we have Daniel in Spain who just bought his new Model 3.
Oh, and wait, we got this last letter here. It says, hi, Zach and Jesse. We're Eric and Amber White. We have been a 2 EV household for over a year now and haven't looked back. This summer, we decided to road trip along with our 2 sons from Kirkland, Washington to Milan, Illinois. Along the way, we spent 3 wonderful days at Yellowstone National Park. We wanted to share our EV experience exploring the park in our 2016 Model X. Yellowstone has several free Level 2 chargers located in key spots. We stayed in Gardner, Montana, and would use the free charger to charge overnight and be ready for a full day of adventure. We were able to hit the highlights of the park like Old Faithful, Yellowstone Canyon, and Yellowstone Lake with ease and no range anxiety. Just for fun, we plugged in at the Level 2 charger at Canyon Village to grab some free charging while having lunch. This was our favorite charging spot as it was easy to find with easy access to the eatery and visitor center. And of course, for those wanting a quick charge, there is a supercharger located in West Yellowstone. Road tripping along major interstates and highways has pretty much become a given with Tesla's great supercharger network. Now, other more off-the-beaten-path places are becoming accessible as well. We want to encourage your viewers to continue to explore and see the world in EVs. Thanks for continuing to educate and entertain us. Now you know, Eric, Amber, Ethan, and Jake. That looks like a fun adventure.
Yeah.
All right, so we had a poll last week. What was the question?
The question has already been answered, but let's see how everyone else answered. So the question was, is the background of the invitation to Battery Day a clue? And most people said that I'm sure that silicon nanowires are part of the battery, but there will be more.
So they were right. Kind of,
probably.
Maybe.
I mean, because you're just like, yeah, whatever. There's going to be more. And I think that they're right. Well, we don't know yet because Battery Day hasn't happened yet.
All right, it's time for Supercharged Reviews. This is sponsored by our friends at Evannex, the Tesla community's accessory store. Looking for awesome accessories for your Tesla? Then check out Evannex and use our discount code nowyouknow to save you $10 on purchases over $100.
Hi, Zach and Jesse. This is Graham here from the UK. I'm at the new 12-stall supercharger on the Hilton Park northbound services on the M6 motorway in England. This is a 12-stall one, as you can see, all in one line. Then we have the normal services that you get at motorway service station. Now you know.
Hey Zach and Jesse, this is Dallas Sunias in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I'm at the site of the new, I think it's like 8 or 12 supercharger station in downtown Calgary, right between 11th and 12th Ave. As you can see, it's not here yet. Nothing to report.
Hey Zach and Jesse, this is Luke coming at you from Warsaw, Poland, the last supercharger stop on your way up to the Baltics. It's a 2-stall sharing the current 1A, 1B in the 5th floor garage in a very nice hotel actually. I was going to give it a 2 out of 10 though because it's kind of all the way underground here, but conveniently they have a lift up to the hotel where they have a very nice restaurant and a bar and a great lounge. Bathrooms are all clean and it's pretty good. The only thing is it's really far off the highway, so you have to go through all the traffic and that's kind of bad. So I'm gonna give this one a 5 out of 10 just because it's got a good restaurant up there. But yeah, 2 stalls, that's it. And that's at the fringe of the supercharger network for now. They need a lot more in the Baltics and in Poland. So back to you guys, and now you know.
Hi everybody. I'm here at Destination Charger at Oil Creek State Park in Oil City, Pennsylvania. They have a 2-port 240 connection. It uses a J1772 connector. You can use that with your Tesla with an adapter. It seems to work fine. It's getting about 33 miles per hour on the charge. This is a great location, especially if you're an outdoors person. There's hiking, pavilions for picnics, biking. Bike trails are the big draw here, but also cabins and tents. For destination areas, I'm going to give this a pretty high score. I'm going to say this is at least an 8 out of 10. There's generally a general store, but with the double bed cold, it's closed right now. There's also a train station you can take for local rides and explore the area where the oil industry was created. Now you know.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That was
I
great.
love the superchargers, and here is our segment on most beautiful superchargers. What do we got?
We've got the Kamloops British Columbia supercharger. This was shared to us by our friend Hans. Up in British Columbia, that looks
pretty cool.
I like the helicopter and the giant
Is the
trout.
helicopter always there?
I don't know. But also, look past that. There's a beautiful vista as well.
It is. We need more pictures.
Run out of beautiful superchargers.
Yeah, so get out there, shoot some pictures of what you think. It doesn't have to be the biggest, best, whatever. If it's beautiful, you know.
And maybe it's not a supercharger. Maybe it's just a charger. Maybe it's just a charger. Maybe we can have a separate segment for just the most beautiful chargers in the world.
Maybe we can. All right, what do we got for new superchargers this week?
Oh, we got a lot. We have the 12-stall version 3 in Hermsdorf, Germany.
We have the 8-stall 250 kilowatt in Ontario, Oregon.
Number 542 in Europe, the 16-stall version 3 supercharger in Aksdal, South Norway.
The 16-stall urban in Marin City, California.
The 7-stall version 3 in Lakeland, Florida.
The 28-stall version 3 in Paso Robles, California.
The 8-stall version 3 in Ozark, Arkansas.
Ozark. The 12-stall urban in Cerritos, California.
The 8-stall version 3 in Conifer, Colorado.
And number 879 in the U.S., number 1948 in the world, is the 6-stall 250 kilowatt in Rutland, Vermont. That's a lot of superchargers.
That's a lot of superchargers.
Do you realize how amazing this is every week that there's been, I don't think, has there been a week where there's none? Do I remember?
There was like one week where there was none, but
on average, it's like half a dozen.
That's a lot of superchargers, and that was 1 week.
I know. And
That's a lot.
And one of them had 28 stalls.
Right, we keep forgetting this.
Yeah. I don't keep forgetting
Since
it. It's
we started,
amazing.
since we started the show, we've added almost about 1,000 superchargers.
I know.
That's
cuckoo nuts.
Yeah.
All right, it's time for our Patreon giveaway. Now, if you want to get to this big barrel of fun, you help us out by going to patreon.com/nowyouknow and sign up. And the more you support us, the more chance you have to win. So this week, you're going to win a poster from Poster Envy. And this one says, New Zealand, like Scotland, only further.
And the winner is Lawrence Lesky. So congratulations, Lawrence. I hope that you've watched Flight of the Conchords.
Were we in a good mood when we made that?
Yes, that was funny.
There's some silly posters on there.
Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't seen Flight of the Conchords, I envy you. That's a very funny. I don't know where you watch it anymore.
I don't know either.
Is it Hulu?
HBO for sure, I think.
Okay. Hey, you've made it to the end of the show.
Yeah.
So congratulations for making it this far. Congratulations to us. I'm going to go take a nap. And we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat place.
That's right.
Now you know.